Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Village of Riverside Board of Trustees regular meeting for Thursday, August 7th, 2025. Please stand as you're able for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk Stenzel, please call the roll.
Trustee Koss.
Here.
Trustee Fitzgerald.
Here.
Trustee Gallegos.
Here.
Trustee Mateo.
Here.
Trustee Evans.
Here.
Manager Francis.
Here.
Attorney Pickerel.
Here.
Also present, Clerk Stenzel.
Thank you. We have a quorum. President's report. We have some upcoming village meetings. August 12th, Landscape Advisory Commission, room 22 of the Village Hall. August 14th, Preservation Commission, room 4, this room of Village Hall. August 18th, Riverside TV Commission, rescheduled meeting, also here at the Village Hall. August 18th, Historical Commission at the Village Hall, 6:30 p.m. August 21st, Village Board meeting, our next Village Board meeting here at Village Hall at 6:30 p.m. I did want to bring up one item for board feedback under my president's report. We recently got some correspondence from from a resident asking about the possibility of considering allowing short-term rentals in residential districts. And I would recommend that we direct our Plan Commission to proceed with that process. Doesn't mean we're going to do it, but it means that we're open to the idea of amending the zoning ordinance to add short-term rental either as a permitted or special use in a residential district. If there's concurrence from the board, I will direct staff to proceed with that.
Sure.
No objections? So we will proceed with that. It'll need to go through the Plan Commission first, of course, before it comes back to us. Also, I wanted to mention that we still have a vacancy on our Landscape Advisory Commission. Any residents that are interested, please submit a volunteer application on our website. Thank you. Trustee reports. Do we have any trustee reports this evening?
I'll give one. So
Trustee
this
Gallegos.
past weekend, we had a terrific weekend of performances at the Hauser Auditorium. If you missed it, you are in luck because Riverside TV did record it, so that will be available on YouTube for you to view. But I will tell you, they did a fantastic job. It was so entertaining. People laughed. I was there both nights. I laughed at everything that they had twice. It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
Everything just came together. So they did a wonderful job on that one. The auditorium was packed both nights. So it was just terrific night.
Yeah.
This weekend starts the sesquicentennial celebrations. On Friday night, we'll have the homecoming concert at Big Ballpark, which starts at 6:30. And then on Saturday, from 1 to 4, please be at Guthrie Park, as we will have all the community organizations and our small businesses have a variety of different games to partake in. Some of the familiar faces that you see on here will be donkeys in the dunk tank. So if that doesn't get you there, I'm not sure what it will, but there will have brats, lemonade. We'll have a car show out the years brought to you by the United Columbus. Alliance Club's going to have a giant Jenga. American Legion's going to have a giant Connect 4. The Junior Women's Club, all the organizations in town. So it's really comprised of all volunteers, as it has been for 150 years. If you did not get a ticket for the soiree, you can still enjoy the music from Guthrie Park. So bring a blanket, bring someone to sit on the ground with and enjoy it, because that was brought to you by the generous donation from the Riverside Township. They are sponsoring the band for that night. So that's going to be a fantastic weekend coming up. Very exhausting, I'm sure, but so well worth it. We only do this once every 150 years. So we won't see another celebration like this until the 200th, which I probably will not be around for.
Trustee Evans.
Hi, everybody. I recently have attended a couple of Riverside Community Garden fundraiser events, the Secret Gardens around town. And I just wanted to encourage everybody to look at their upcoming dates and see if, you can maybe fit it into your schedule. It's just been very fascinating to see the ideas that people have in their backyards that you have no idea is there. The way people use their space, the way they take care of their trees, it's just it's just really interesting. So I would encourage you to check one out.
Thank you. Any other trustee reports? I will echo Trustee Galago's comments regarding the sesquicentennial events. I too attended the one evening of the play last weekend, and I understand both nights were very well attended and the performances were very well received. Again, a bunch of volunteers spending their own time to write, produce, direct, and act in these performances. And as far as this weekend's events, thank you to all the sponsors. You'll see on our social media posts, we'll be sending out posts thanking those sponsors and identifying them by name. It's too many for me to list right here, but please pay attention to that because our sponsors and our volunteers are what making these events happen. Last weekend, this weekend, back to January and through the end of the year. Any other trustee reports? Seeing none, manager's report.
Keeping with the 150 theme, I would like to thank and recognize Trustee Marshazga, Trustee Galagos, the Sesquicentennial Committee, Director Melchiotti, Program Coordinator Siska, and all of the volunteers for all of their work on our 150 events. The committee had the first meeting in December of 2023 and have worked tirelessly over the past 20 months to ensure that we have a great homecoming weekend. This group also made sure that we had funding through sponsorships, auctions, and merchandise sales for the new street signs that are displayed throughout the village. There's a lot of work that happens behind the scenes to ensure the village events are successful, and I just want to make sure that we express our gratitude for all of that work. I can assure everyone that the 150 celebrations will be amazing, and they are not done. There is still more to come at the end of the year with merchandise sales, and they will have a closing ceremony in early 2026. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Public comment for non-agenda items. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to comment on a non-agenda item, knowing that you'll have a chance to comment on agenda items as we get to those? There are none. I would ask Clerk Stenzel to read the consent agenda.
If we intend to remove anything from the consent agenda, now would be the time to do it.
Okay, thank you. I would ask that C, approve Village Board of Trustees Executive Session meeting minutes of July 17th, 2025 be removed from the consent agenda as there are further revisions needed to that, to those minutes. So, Clerk Stenzel.
Yep. We will need a motion to approve that
Okay.
removal. So the motion is made if someone just seconds it.
Motion,
All those in favor?
Aye.
all in favor, aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Approve voucher list of bills, August 7th, 2025. Approve Village Board of Trustees regular meeting minutes, July 17th, 2025. Review and file Board and Commission minutes. Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting minutes, May 28th, 2025. Ad hoc Sesquicentennial Committee rescheduled regular meeting minutes, June 2nd, 2025. Parks and Recreation Board regular meeting minutes, June 23rd, 2025. Historical Commission rescheduled regular meeting minutes, June 16th, 2025. Police Pension Board rescheduled regular meeting minutes, April 24th, 2025. Review and file department monthly reports. Police Department, July 2025. Fire Department, July 2025. A resolution authorizing the village manager to approve a grant-funded change order in the amount of $250,000 for additional sidewalk replacement as part of the Olmsted Sewer Separation and Water Main Project. and a resolution authorizing the sale or disposal of personal property owned by the Village of Riverside.
Would anyone like any other items removed from the consent agenda?
Aside from C, no, then I'll make a motion to approve said consent agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Clerk Stenzel, please call the roll.
Trustee Cos?
Aye.
Trustee Marshaska? Trustee Fitzgerald?
Aye.
Trustee Gallegos?
Aye.
Trustee Mateo? Trustee Evans?
Aye.
Consent agenda is approved. Department, board, and commission reports.
Director Malchiotti.
Director Malchiotti.
Good evening, President Pollock, Village Trustees, Manager Francis. I wanted to update you and the community on some events and programs we have coming up. Tomorrow night, join Ride Riverside for their slow roll that will meet at the train station at 6 p.m. That ride will end at Big Ballpark, where we will be hosting the last concert in our series. This homecoming concert will kick off the sesquicentennial events for the weekend, and it will begin at 7 p.m. and feature the band Nashville Electric Company. You can also purchase charcuterie boxes from Able Creations, a Riverside business. Parks and Recreation Department is hosting a popcorn pizza pajama party at the Quincy Street Community Center on Saturday evening from 6:30 to 9 p.m. So whether you are attending the soiree or just want a parents' night out, children between 5 and 11 can wear their pajamas and enjoy popcorn and pizza while they play games and watch a movie. Registration is limited and needs to be completed in advance, but it can be completed online or at our office before 2 p.m. tomorrow. Our popular Corey's Triathlon registration has been extended, and this year is even better. Thanks to our sponsor, the Corey Sickich Foundation, this year's participants will receive a quarter-zip pullover and the chance to win a $500 gift card from Dick's Sporting Goods. Pre-registration is required and space is limited. You can sign up online, or in our office until Monday, August 11th at noon. And briefly, as some of you may or may not know, the Sickich family were longtime residents of Riverside, very involved in the community and the swim club. Tragically, Corey developed an eating disorder, which eventually caused her death in 2002. This event was created with the cooperation of the family to promote wellness and positive body image while raising awareness of all eating disorders. So we're honored to host this event for the community and in her name. Our movie in the park was rescheduled due to weather, and that will be held on Thursday, August 14th at Big Ballpark. The movie will begin at dusk, and we will be showing Shrek. And lastly, I just wanted to highlight a new program in collaboration with the Riverside Arts Center. We're always looking for more opportunities to offer cooperative programming and offer more programs to the senior community. Our Senior Art Club accomplishes both of those objectives. It allows participants to explore their creativity and connect with others, and we'll be rolling out additional programming in our fall-winter brochure, but we are very happy to be working with the RAC to achieve our shared goal of serving the community. I'd also like to thank Trustee Fitzgerald for connecting myself and the new director and filmer to explore this important partnership. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other department, board, or commission reports? Pending business, A, of resolution approving an economic incentive agreement between the Village of Riverside and Line Development 2 LLC. Manager Francis.
Thank you. The board originally began preliminary discussions related to some type of economic incentive agreement or permit waivers back in June of this year. Mr. Leone of Lion Development was here to answer any questions that the board might have. During that meeting, the board had directed staff to work with Mr. Leone to create an agreement in coordination with Village Council to highlight that he would be paying for our direct third-party costs that the village always passes through related to building permits, but any of our in-house costs from our inspectors that we hire as full-time employees would be absorbed by the village, but tracked. And so I'm going to walk you through the essence of the agreement. But before I do, I just also wanted to highlight the estimated property tax collection for all taxing bodies once this building is built. So it is $383,033 for all taxing bodies, but specifically for the village. And these are estimates that we work through to receive from our township assessor. The village-only portion is $57,454.95. And so obviously, looking at that over a 10-year period, multiplied by 10, and that's what you see illustrated in the PowerPoint presentation. Some of the specific highlights within the agreement: the estimated total permit and fees for the project are $315,000. Of that, we estimated that $250,000 will be associated with permit costs for in-house staff. Estimated third-party inspector, plan review, engineering, etc. fees to be paid by Line Development are $65,000. So the agreement has a not to exceed $65,000 for that. Reimbursement to Lion Development is up to $65,000 and the fees paid. Obviously, if they pay less in those third parties, their reimbursement would be less. There are caveats, though, to this agreement. So reimbursement will not be made until the village manager has provided documentation illustrating that the building is not receiving any type of property tax reduction based on vacancy. And it must be 75% occupied. Also, the agreement is not transferable and construction must begin within 12 months of the effective date, which the effective date is August 7th. So essentially August 7th of 2020.
Motion.
I'll second.
Motion to approve and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Clerk Stenzel, please call the roll.
Trustee Koss.
Aye.
Trustee March Ozga. Aye. Trustee Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Trustee Gallegos.
Aye.
Trustee Mateo. Aye. Trustee Evans.
Aye.
Motion is approved and the resolution is approved. New business, discuss multi-use court design for the Blythe Park Court renovation. Director Malchiotti.
Good evening. In spring of 2024, the school district superintendent began dialogue with village staff regarding playground and court improvements adjacent to the Blythe Park Elementary School. While that project was tabled due to the master planning process, an ongoing discussion with staff regarding the Blythe Park playground. At the November 21st, 2024 Village Board of Trustees meeting, feedback was requested from Parks and Recreation Board, Preservation Commission, and along with neighbors surrounding the park. After careful consideration of all feedback received, the Village Board of Trustees approved a resolution at the March 6, 2025 meeting to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with School District 96 to construct a multi-purpose court to be utilized by the school and Riverside residents outside of school hours. The completed master plan outlined needs of the community, including dedicated pickleball courts. After discussion at the June 23rd, 2025 Parks and Recreation Board meeting, it was the opinion of the board that they did not want to lose one amenity for another. Therefore, a design was proposed to incorporate a multi-purpose court along with a dedicated pickleball court on the existing footprint. So the designs are before you, and the department would like feedback and direction on the proposed design to move forward with obtaining quotes for a project planned for completion in 2026.
Any questions for Director Malchiotti?
Essentially, the only change to the original discussion would be a reduction of the size of the basketball court to accommodate a pickleball court. So it would essentially be a junior high size basketball court with a pickleball court at the top, but it would all be encompassed on the existing footprint.
Thank you. Trustee Evans?
Is that the color?
Not necessarily, just a rendering.
But it's going to be colored, right?
Yes, in fact, the one that the school proposed, I believe, was blue and green, but that will all be sussed out in the design phase.
Any other questions or? I'll get to that in just a second after questions of staff. Any other questions from staff?
Yeah, Ron, I realize this is just a rendering, but will the three-point line actually will there be a full three-point line? Or is it going to be so small that you won't have one?
I believe there'll be a three-point line. It'll just be the reduced dimensions of a junior high court.
Okay.
Any other questions for staff? If not, I'd ask for, thank you, Director Malchiotti, ask for public comments at this time. Yes, please introduce yourself and tell us what your concerns are.
Hi, my name is Marty Kalick, Riverside resident. Additionally, I am the secretary of the AOSO 300 region, which represents Riverside, Brookfield, LaGrange Park, and Western Springs, and we are the third largest region in the United States. So my overall question was, I try to stay up to date with any and all public comment when it comes to such things. Was soccer, I know there's multi-use courts that also involve soccer. So I guess I'm curious if that was something that was possibly something that the community was able to weigh in on as opposed to just basketball and pickleball. So
I'd ask
That's my
Director
only
Malchiotti
Yeah.
to address that.
So it will, when we refer to it as a multi-purpose court, it will be very true to that. The school uses that surface for all kinds of activities. So while there will be basketball lines, there will also be lines for foursquare, kickball, hopscotch, but they will be able to use that surface. So if they wanted to utilize pop-up goals and use that for soccer, they would be able to as well.
And there's other open space in the park, correct, that can be used for on grass?
Yes, there's grassy
Right.
areas to the left and at the top that we utilize for our programs as well as the school does.
Thank you. Yes,
I will add that the school district utilizes the amphitheater for soccer as well.
thank you. Did you have any other comments, sir?
no,
Please. Yeah, sorry. Got to get this to the
I
microphone.
appreciate the feedback, and that's fine. I know there's other multi-use courts you could buy that actually come with walls and everything. I understand the grass comments. I know those get torn up. So to have actually a multi-use court where there's the lines and the field and the hard surface for children to play soccer, I don't know if the Parks and Rec will supply the pop-up goal. I may have to supply the pop-up goal, which is fine because I like to promote the sport. So as long as the kids get the chance to play. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Any further discussion from the board?
I like it.
I think we're just looking for direction, correct? So is it the consensus of the board for the Parks and Rec Board to move forward with this design?
Yeah, just one more quick question, Ron, sorry. The pickleball court is standard pickleball size, correct?
Correct.
Thanks.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because we recently had some correspondence from someone stating that we don't have a perfectly regulation pickleball court. We have converted tennis courts that don't quite meet the standards. We will have one now.
Correct.
Yes,
I just have a question as to whether the basketball baskets are going to be mobile so that they go off the courts when the court is being used for some other purpose, or do they stay there?
No, they would be permanent, but if you're referring to soccer, they would fit underneath that.
Fit underneath?
If you're going to do pop-up goals for soccer
Oh.
or play any other activity, it'd be
Oh, the
well
goals
beneath
would fit
the-
underneath the
Correct.
baskets, gotcha, okay. And would there be a physical fence in between the green court and the blue court? Or would they be able to potentially be used for a larger activity?
So that would come up during the design phase. Currently, this rendering, and what we're seeing more and more is no fencing around the courts unless they're very close to the street, which this isn't. But we may install a short fence between the basketball and the pickleball just to delineate the activities so they're not kind of crossing into each other. But that could all be determined in the design phase. This is basically to get any feedback, see if the village board is in favor of this design so that I could obtain quotes.
Any further questions, discussion?
I think it looks great.
I think we have direction, correct, from the board to, for the Parks and Rec Board to proceed with this concept design.
Thank you.
Thank you. B, a resolution waiving competitive bidding and authorizing the village manager to execute an agreement with Hitchcock Design Group for a total amount not to exceed $35,000 for services related to the planning and design of Turtle Park. Director Malchiotti.
Thank you. Master plan for the Parks and Recreation Department provided important information for future projects, and one of the top priorities was replacing our playgrounds. At the June 23rd Parks and Recreation Board meeting, the board discussed and recommended the replacement of Turtle Park based on the proposed funding from the state through Representative Rashid, and that planning, design, and engagement was essential to this project. Knowing that funding is contingent on having a shovel-ready project that needs to be completed by June of 2026, staff immediately sought out proposals for planning services. Staff received proposals from two firms that we have worked with extensively, Christopher B. Burke Engineering and Hitchcock Design Group. Hitchcock Design Group was part of the Barry Dunn Master Planning Team, and Steve Conter has presented to this board on multiple occasions regarding park and playground inventory, as well as natural resource management plan. At the July 28th Parks and Recreation Board meeting, the board discussed and unanimously recommended the Hitchcock proposal based on pricing and their previous work in Riverside, as well as many park and playground projects completed. They have a wide range of projects, including some local, and I believe we have some examples to show the board. The Morton Arboretum Children's Garden Design in Lisle, and also Bison's Bluff in Schaumburg, Illinois. Both of these show nature-based elements that could be incorporated. Again, the Turtle Park project we are proposing as a replacement as opposed to a renovation that will be on the existing footprint, but we can certainly incorporate all of the previous designs that they have worked with. I would also encourage the board, they were welcome to go on Hitchcock's website, but also two of the major playground distributors for equipment are Game Time and New Toys. You could certainly go on those websites as well and see a plethora of projects and ideas, which again will all come during the engagement and design phase, but for points of reference. So if this proposal is approved, the process will begin immediately to obtain as much public input as possible prior to design phase. Hitchcock will conduct an open house, a stakeholder meeting, and presentations to the Parks and Recreation Board as well as this board.
Great.
Thank you. Any questions for staff?
I'm ready to move forward.
Any public comments on this? Any discussion? Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make said motion.
I'll second.
Motion and a second to approve a resolution waiving competitive bidding and authorizing the village manager to execute an agreement with Hitchcock Design Group for a total amount not to exceed $35,000 for services related to the planning and design of Turtle Park. Clerk Stenzel.
Trustee Cost?
Aye.
Trustee Marshaga?
Aye.
Trustee Fitzgerald?
Aye.
Trustee Galagos?
Aye.
Trustee Mateo? Aye. Trustee Evans?
Aye.
Motion approved, the resolution is approved. Thank you. C, an ordinance amending Title VI, Chapter 2 of the Village Code relating to keeping hens. Planner Siren.
Thank you. This topic came up, and it was related to the board recently approving the ordinance for outdoor pets. That ordinance allowed keeping 5 outdoor pets. When that item was brought to the board, the staff received a notification from our trustees stating that hens are allowed to be kept in the village, but only 4 hens are allowed to be kept. So there was a question of would it be make sense to have 5 hens allowed to be kept. Staff did research and found that there wouldn't be any negative impact of keeping 5 hens as opposed to 4, and reviewed a few other communities that seems basically in line with other communities are recommending. And so staff recommends modifying the hen keeping ordinance to allow the number of hens to be kept to be increased to 5, as well as removing some language about the program being a pilot program since it's been in place for several years.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? Any public comments on this? Further discussion?
My next door neighbors keep hens, and they are awesome. It's so much fun having them next door, so I would love to have them get 5 as opposed to the 3 they have now. So I think this is a great idea. You know, when we babysit the hens, we get fresh eggs, so it's lovely.
And I'm told that you don't refrigerate those eggs.
No, you do not.
Yeah.
And they're the cutest little
Fact.
things, I swear.
Okay.
Who knew?
Okay, would someone like to make a motion?
Move to approve the ordinance.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Clerk Stenzel.
Trustee Cos.
Aye.
Trustee Marsh Ozga.
Aye.
Trustee Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Trustee Galagos.
Aye.
Trustee Mateo. Aye. Trustee Evans.
Aye.
Motion is approved, ordinance is approved. D, discussion of the Village of Riverside Capital Improvement Plan spanning fiscal years 2026 to 2035. Director Zavala.
The CIP discussion marks the beginning of our budget process. The purpose of tonight's discussion is to provide staff with recommendations on the prioritization of specific projects and capital items to be included in the 2026 budget. Included in your packet is a 10-year plan spanning from 2026 to 2035. Some highlights for 2026 are the resurfacing of the completed water projects from 2025. The village makes it a priority to only touch one street once, so all water projects are completed in conjunction with street resurfacing the following year. 2026 will include Herbert, Blackhawk, Gage, Olmsted. Additional street projects are Riverside Road, Lionel, and South Cove. Some of these projects would not be possible if the village did not have the permanent funding that it has now from the successful referendum last year. Parks and Recreation will complete the Turtle Park replacement, as Director Malchiotti said previously. The village also intends on the continuation of the lead service line replacement project by applying for another 0% loan from the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency, if available. I wanted to show some tools to aid in the decision-making process. The top chart shows each equipment item will have a salvage value if the item is replaced. This money is then reinvested into the capital projects fund. The bottom chart shows that costs are incurred even when an item is not purchased. Some of these items have been deferred from prior years, so these costs have doubled if we choose to defer another year. If you can see, costs incurred, even if we don't do anything, we have maintenance costs, the increase of inflation for another year, decrease in salvage value, and then total cost there would be $38,329. Some of these items on this list have already been deferred from 2025, so it's important to note that if we do defer another year, we're essentially doubling part of this expense, even though we don't spend anything. Next slide, please. So, the village has options and sufficient resources to fund these projects, and I want to be very clear, there is not a deficit. We are prioritizing what projects the board plans to complete this year. The options to keep in mind would be to transfer the total cost of the plan for 2026 from IRMA, which is the $779,000 in green, right there. What this would do, and we would not touch the annual surplus. It will retain in the general fund. Historically, the surplus would be transferred to capital projects fund at the end of each year to fund the projects for that year. What we have been doing is estimating the amount of surplus. That $299,000 right there underneath that, that's an estimation. So we estimated last year, and that amount actually ended up being much larger than we estimated. If we had known this during the budget process, it would have been very helpful because we would have actual numbers to work with. This approach would eliminate the need to estimate this number, year-end surplus, and enhance the accuracy of capital planning for the following year. It will give the general fund a year to catch up, and we could take a more strategic approach to building up the unassigned fund balance in the general fund. The second option would be to do a mix, to transfer surplus from the annual fund like we always do from the general fund of $250,000 and include a IRMA transfer for the balance needed of $479,985. Both of these options would cover all items listed versus deferring items and increasing the long-term costs to future years. The third option would be to review expenses and defer to future year. Just please remember from the previous chart that costs will be incurred based on repairs, inflation, increase in salvage value, even if we do defer and not make any purchases. Next slide, please. The current IRMA excess surplus balance is $1,990,399, and the optional deductible balance is $108,461 at this time. You can see right here, this is from 2012 through 2025, our increase in surplus from previous year and the percentage increase. Should I continue with reviewing each line item, or does the board wish to discuss these options available now?
Would the board like to discuss the options, or do you want to go through the list of 2023 capital projects first?
Let's look at the project.
Okay.
Okay, continue, please. So, the 2026 capital project requests are tiered, with Tier 1 being contractual agreements that are obligated, Tier 2 beyond end of life or critical replacement needed, and Tier 3 items that are having maintenance issues, starting to deteriorate, or new initiatives. All department heads are in attendance to answer any questions you may have for any projects. Okay, Tier 1, this is already obligated. We have police department body card tasers, $86,000 a year. It's an 8-year agreement. We're currently in year 6. We have flock cameras. It's a village contract. Next one. Tier 2, beyond end of life or critical. Fire department pickup truck replacement, $85,000. This current vehicle was purchased in 2002, and the replacement is going to replace 2 vehicles. It's very important to note that the vehicle being replaced is used for resident services, and when there are storms and if 911 is called, this vehicle goes to plow the residents' home and street to make sure they can exit safely. The next one is a fire department radio replacement. This is part of a total program where they will be completing within 2026 and 2027 to replace all of the fire department radios. They are beyond end of life, and $60,000 would replace 7 radios. Police department ballistic shields. This is a safety necessity for our police officers. A police department vehicle replacement, $85,000 is end of service life. This would replace the CSO vehicle and is expected to look for an electric option. The portable message speed board is $35,000. This is partially grant funded if available for $10,000 if received. The current speed board is starting to deteriorate. Next on the list is the skid steer. This item was deferred from last year. It was purchased in 2005. Estimated salvage value of $7,500. There are rental expenses if it's not in working order and repairs needed. It is repaired annually. Next, if needed, would be the spongy moth application. Again, knock on wood, that's if needed. Reforestation, $50,000. This is in order to complete replacement of all the trees lost in the storm of 2022. $50,000 is estimated, and this is like something we do annually just to maintain our numbers. IT computer replacements, this is as needed. If someone's computer starts going down, we replace as needed. IT switch replacements, some switches are at end of life, and we would replace the most critical. This would complete our project for the switch replacements. Next is Tier 3. These are still important projects. Items on here are heavy maintenance issues starting to deteriorate or are a new initiative. The Brutus all-terrain vehicle, $45,000, is having maintenance issues and there are safety issues with driving it. The tilt deck trailer is deteriorating, $5,000. The Public Works pickup truck, $60,000, replacing a 2015 pickup truck that is end of life. The large area mower, $100,000. This area mower is equivalent to 3 mowers. If it's not in service, there wouldn't be enough funds for us to rent 3 mowers to replace the duty of this item. It has a lifespan of only 7 years, and it was purchased in 2015. The mower deck is deteriorating, and the estimated annual repairs have been $2,000. Estimated trade-in value at this time is $15,000. In our cybersecurity assessment, IT written security policies were noted as needed for the village, along with IT security policies. Both of these items will improve the village's assessment scores, which is used for CJIS, for the police department, and other agencies. CD wayfinding signage. This is $16,000 for an EDC initiative of wayfinding signs placed throughout the village. I believe this was an estimated 4 signs. We also have a community development economic incentive program for the Central Business District of $20,000. This would be a downtown grant facade program at the amount recommended by EDC. Community development also has a residential efficiency grant program of $5,000. This is a pilot program to promote energy efficiency. Staff is using the Climate Action Plan to identify available resources and will present incentive program options to the board for consideration. Lastly, we have our Dark Skies Consulting of $4,200. This would be for our assessment and a communication plan in order to see what the village needs to make us Dark Skies community. Any other costs associated with upfitting the lights or downfitting is not included in this number. It would just be a plan to let us know what we actually have to do to get this status. So total of all the projects is $779,679. Are there any questions on the projects that or purchases that I could have department heads answer or I could answer?
I did have one question about the
Of course.
wayfinding signage. When was the last time EDC was asked if they still want that?
We discussed this at their July meeting
Okay.
this summer, so they had given additional direction earlier in the year. I think the most recent discussion was probably in January or March, kind of just walking through and assessing which locations would be preferable. Really any combination of signage that could give some direction and support to people getting into the community was their goal.
Yeah, we've been wanting that since I was on EDC 7 years ago.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
And then again, to know all of these projects are just a plan. When they actually come to fruition, they are brought to the board again for review and approval of a purchase order if they're $25,000 or more.
But there are items that aren't in these 3 tables. Like Parks and Rec requests are not in there.
Yes, Parks and Rec is funded, fully funded this year. I'm proud to say all funds are fully funded. The only items you see on here, I say not fully funded, they are. We have the money, we're just choosing if we want to spend it or not.
But staff can certainly answer any questions on
Yes.
any of those items as well.
Yes.
Yes.
I just wanted to make note, I know there is a reluctance sometimes to utilize that IRMA surplus, but
but I also wanted to make note that what we're asking for to transfer, if we're just transferring what is minimally needed and going with what we are projecting for our surplus to be transferred at the end of this fiscal year, you're looking at essentially 2024 excess surplus and 2025 excess surplus. So just as a reminder to the board, when you look at 2012, and for everyone's reference, years before that, the Village of Riverside would use that money to balance their general budget. And we've accumulated that over time to be nearly $2 million. And so the items that are also included within the capital listing, like ballistic shields, well, if we don't have certain equipment that is reliable for our staff members, that can create actually a risk issue. And so remember, every incident is $50,000 for our deductible if we hit that deductible. Same thing with the cybersecurity. So if we get hit with something cybersecurity related and we don't have best practices and things in place, that also goes to the IRMA deductible. But it's lesser insured because at this point in time, a lot of secondary insurers don't want to insure anyone for cybersecurity because it is so high risk.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to emphasize that while I understand we're asking for a lot of resources out of that excess surplus, I also want you to bear in mind the costs, the opportunity costs that we'll be losing, because obviously the salvage cost for trade-ins, we're going to be paying more for repairs, and then we're also going to be losing on staff time when they're bringing items to be repaired or maintained, or if we have to rent items. So just being cognizant of that. And Director, so there's also good news that Director Zavala will present once we get guidance on this, talking about 2027 and looking forward and specific funding towards capital. So it will make these conversations into the future less challenging.
I think it might be helpful for the board to go ahead and talk about that, because
Okay.
when I look at the options of, two of the options are taking IRMA funds, you begin to worry, okay, we're dipping into some savings. And if you do that every year, obviously that's an issue. You can only do that so often. But the long-term plan that Jessica and Yvette have developed may inform your decision on what to do in the short term, so.
Okay, can you please go to the last slide? Okay, so in planning for the future, there are larger ticket items included in the next 10 years, like the aerial truck replacement for the fire department, which is $980,000. This is a 1996 engine that has to be replaced in heavy-duty vehicles. So additional funding sources are needed just for these items and to complete the 10-year project, the plan. So if we are able to look at a different option that would need minimal supplemental help from IRMA reserves or additional surplus transfers, would be to include these items in capital equipment in the funds needed for the public safety referendum in 2027, and use limited tax debt for the purpose of equipment and not facilities, since the village intends to do a referendum in 2027. Limited tax debt is general obligation bonds the village can issue without referendum, and the village has been issuing for facilities at this time. This is not something new, it's just saying that instead of facilities, since we are going to referendum and meeting that need, we would just be swapping it for working capital. The second page of your handout that I have on your desk today shows shows the general capital projects fund from 2026 to 2035 if we did move forward with this option. And you can see in 2035 we have a positive fund balance. So There are a couple years we haven't reworked all the expenses to move around, which we can, but it would need minimum from IRMA, minimum from the general fund surplus. This plan will allow IRMA to grow and our unassigned fund balance to grow as well. Are there any questions about this plan?
So if I may paraphrase.
Yes.
So basically, the long-term plan is to keep renewing every 2 years that limited tax debt, which we already have, so people's property tax will not change, will not go up because of this, but we just continue to redo that every 2 years, and that gets us a long-term finance plan without having to go back to IRMA or other resources in the future.
Just one correction, it's every 3
Okay.
years.
Yes.
3 years, sorry, yeah.
Yes, and knock on wood, right now the rate for GO bonds is lower than our interest that we're receiving from IRMA and the total collaborative. So if that ever changes, we could revisit this plan and make a new plan. Like we said, it's just a plan.
So are there any questions specifically on that long-term plan? And if not, I'd ask that we go back to those options for this 2026 and ask the board to weigh in on those 3 options. So the options is we have a projected shortfall of 2026 of $780,000. One option is to entirely pay for that through transfers from IRMA funds. Another is to split it with the 2025 surplus, and the difference, $300,000 approximately from the 2025 surplus, $500,000 approximately from IRMA, or the other option is to defer expenses to future years. I would not recommend the third option.
Neither would I. A lot of that stuff is past its
We've-
point. We've deferred a lot.
We've deferred a lot, yeah. And and more importantly, we have the means to not defer.
Yes.
So, questions, comments from trustees?
If staff is confident that we can have the 779 transfer, then I'd be in favor of that.
Question.
Yes.
So, option 1, in the great memo that you gave us, transferring the $780,000 would eliminate the need to estimate the year-end surplus and enhance the accuracy and effectiveness of capital planning for the following year.
Yes.
So IRMA historically, again, knocking on wood, has had a better rate of return than our money market. So I could see wanting to keep as much money in there. So help me understand conceptually the difference between 1 and 2 in terms of your work. Please.
Yes. So I do want to make the most interest, but in the interest of the residents, deferring these services for another year and taking the risk. And also we have risk in IRMA as well. So we have been seeing these large annual increases, but that's not always the case. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not. And right now, while it is good, we do have the option of withdrawing, and we lose that risk of if IRMA doesn't, we don't know until the end of the year what it's gonna look like. So it might have a loss this year, we don't know that. So if we do withdraw, we lower that risk, and anything that is saved in the annual surplus is still saved, which is at a lower rate, of course, of the 4%, around 4.65 at this time.
So did I hear right? If we went with option 2, we would have to pick items to defer? I didn't.
No,
That
if we
wasn't
went
my
with option
understanding.
2, there will be no items to defer, just the transfer from IRMA would only be the 479,000. And we'll be able to do that with the transfer from the general fund. But then next year, we'll have to estimate again, So say that the surplus is not 250,000, then we might have a shortfall.
Well,
Yes, Manager
next year,
Francis.
we may not have to do that, depending.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if our strategy is to do the limited tax debt into the future, we may have sufficient resources
Yes.
to not have to do that.
Yes.
Moving forward.
So if we pick that option, 2027, we have a positive balance. If we start 2027 at 0 or higher.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further questions, comments?
Well,
I
it was-
kinda-
oh,
go
sorry.
ahead.
It was my understanding that one of the reasons why we built up this IRMA fund was for situations like this, so that we had this money to be able to move forward with things. So it's not that we're dipping into something that we don't want to, or it's ill-advised to dip into. We're dipping into something that we saved for this purpose. So I think I'm in absolute agreement that number 3 is not an option. So I would be in favor of 1 or 2 moving forward.
One other item to note, like Trustee Cost mentioned, the IRMA funds surplus balance is not our only savings. We do have a committed fund balance of $2.5 million. We hold 3 months' worth of our budget as a savings. The best practice is 2 months, so we are ahead of the game.
So, I have a question. The only, 3 is off the table for me as well. But between the first choice, taking the whole 780,000, and the second choice, which is 479, 480, the real difference between those 2 choices is not that we won't have the money to do the items on this capital list, because we will either way. The issue is whether we are taking it from IRMA or taking it from this other source. And if we take it from the general fund, then we run the risk that something else comes up that we won't have money for, or that we have to reevaluate the budget in the middle of 2026? Or what is the risk to doing number 2 and taking it from the general fund?
No, there won't be any risk. Like I said, we have another savings. It would just be, so just taking it from one line item and not the other. It would show a higher unassigned fund balance, which looks well when you go to apply for bonds and bond ratings. There is a benefit to that, so, yeah.
Benefit from which one? Option number 1? for that
Yes, option
bond?
number 1, yes, yeah. It
Gives
would-
us the benefit of having a lower
Yes,
interest rate? Okay.
well, to have money in the unassigned fund balance is a benefit when you're doing bond ratings. It looks better to have it across the board, across all 3. So that is a benefit. But like, we save the money for use, and if it's time to use, I would think now is the time.
And there is a slight, I mean, we have a really high bond rating right now, but there is a slight room for improvement, as I recall. And so to get us to that next level,
Yeah, so we're at AA+ right now. In order for us to reach AAA, it would take a lot, but we have to start. So we got to start somewhere. So we start with this new funding option. We're able to start building it up. So we'll start building IRMA, we'll start building the unassigned fund balance, and we'll put the village in a better financial position, especially when going into bond ratings. Like I said, we're not taking on new debt. We're just swapping it out for facility too.
thank you for
To
that
capital.
clarification. And with that clarification, I would be in favor of option 1.
I would be in favor of option 1 as well.
Option 1? I just have a quick, I'm going to take it from a completely different from the public
course.
view. Either way, option 3 is off the table, but with between option 1 and option 2, we're still going to keep continuity of services
Yes,
with
of
everything.
course.
And it will still be paid. But is there any type of difference from the pockets of any of the taxpayers either way that we do it?
No,
Nope,
so,
okay.
yeah, it would be just replacing what we do already.
I would be in favor of option 1.
I think the consensus is option 1. Manager Francis, do you have?
This is I don't have any feedback on this particular one, and here's the great part of this. If staff is getting direction on option 1, as we're getting closer, we can kind of gauge closer to the end of the fiscal year, come to the board and say, look, we're deriving this amazing surplus, and maybe we don't need the full 780. But just having the direction so that we can kind of plan a course for the remainder of the fiscal year is really helpful. The one item that I wanted to note, because I know that the village board has received some public feedback on it, and I know there was, I believe, a petition circulating for Vision Zero. Under street infrastructure improvements, Burke Engineering did provide us a proposal for an engineering plan. And so I wanted to make sure, as it relates to bikes, and so I wanted to make sure that I made mention of that so the board was aware of that study and evaluation that's incorporated into next fiscal year. Now, what does that mean? That doesn't mean that the improvements will happen immediately. It means that we're creating a strategy for different bicycle improvements throughout the village where possible. Burke would do a stakeholder feedback meetings to find out what is permissible, what is desired, because it's multifaceted, right? And so then with physical improvements, striping on the streets, do we want to create certain physical structures, changing our parkways? All these items will be discussion points, so then Burke has direction of a plan that they can then lay out. And so it's no different from how we do our street study or our sewer study. It would be all in coordination with these future projects, but then we have a plan versus right now where it's more in based on different feedback, and we're doing things in a less decisive manner, and it's somewhat more reactionary versus proactively creating a plan. So I just wanted to make note of that to the board. It is incorporated. I know that there's been some public feedback and input on that. Additionally, on that same point, staff is going to be compiling some feedback for you that we've received from residents about e-bikes and scooters. For the board to opine on further. You probably noticed we've put out a couple of different e-flashes and notifications, not only about bike safety, but also about e-bikes and electric scooters, because they're challenging and problematic at times when people don't utilize them wisely on the roads or if they're on the sidewalks.
Thank you. And what is the estimated budget expenditure on that item?
I believe $55,000.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought it was important that the board is aware that that's in there. This isn't the final decision on any of these items.
Right.
It will come back to you in the budget, final budget document. But I did want to say in response to that issue, the landmark writers here, and I have tremendous respect for the landmark and journalist Trent Brown, but I did want to, for the record, make a correction. I've talked to various village officials, including Director Buckley and Manager Francis, and I can reassure the board that no village official has said that IDOT traffic safety statistics paint a dangerous picture for the village. We have not said that. And in fact, I believe the opposite is true. I think the statistics actually show just the opposite, that our streets inside of Riverside are very safe. We can always do more, and that's why this is in the budget. We can always do more, but I don't want people thinking that we have a serious safety problem in this village, because from my experience working in communities throughout Chicagoland area, we have some of the safest streets around. There's no question about that in my mind. So that's just for the record. Thank you. Any questions, comments on that particular item, or yes, Trustee
Can I just
Evans?
piggyback on what you said? I also wanted to just acknowledge Riverside Police Department's efforts toward bike safety since forever. It's not just like right now we're starting to look at bike safety issues. This has always been a priority for chief and for our police department.
Thank you. So to summarize, we have direction as far as capital funding for 2026. We will go with option one, which is to potentially withdraw up to $780,000 from our IRMA surplus to pay for 2026 capital projects. And then moving forward, and we'll have this discussion again a year from now, moving forward, we will consider using that limited tax debt as a funding option for the remainder of the 10-year capital plan. Did I summarize that correctly?
Yes.
Trustees? Very good. Staff, you have your direction.
Thank you. I'll be back in the first meeting of September for the financial forecast.
Thank you. And thank you, Director Zavala, Manager Francis. Tremendous job. I mean, we are in a position right now with what we've discussed tonight to fund our capital for 10 years, which without relying completely on surplus, without relying on borrowing, or without relying on out of the ordinary means to do that. So that is a very encouraging thing for the village. Thank you. Great job by our staff as always. That concludes our regular meeting. The board does have a need for executive session this evening to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of a specific employee or legal counsel, the setting of a price for sale or lease of property owned by the public body, and to discuss probable imminent or pending litigation. The board will not reconvene and no final action will take place. I would ask for a motion and a second to adjourn to executive session.
Motion is,
Before,
I'm sorry.
before I make said motion, I apologize for my tardiness earlier, but did you talk about the great sesquicentennial festivities this
Your
coming
partner
weekend?
did a wonderful job.
Just checking. All right. So we'll see you all at the festival on Saturday from 1 to
And-
4, and then
I told them that you're going to be in the dunk tank from 1 to 4, so they have, 3 hours.
the whole time. I will not be in the dunk tank the whole time, but I will do a turn. So hope
And
to see you guys
I
there.
asked people to wear their centennial shirts as they were able. I'm not going to take mine off till at least Sunday.
All right. Excellent. All right. Well, with that being said, I will make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? We are adjourned.